Welcome to the Bridging the Gap podcast, where our mission is to encourage, equip, and empower every woman on her faith journey with Jesus Christ. Today, we are honored to hear from tech creators Matt and Jill Reed in conversation with our podcast host, Mykelti Bloom. The Reeds are the founders of No Curtains, which is an online resource tracking the tech world to source information that affects everyday people. In this episode, Matt and Jill share their heart for helping parents understand social media to better protect their kids. They talk through how social media has developed over the years and how the Reeds shifted their focus from creating content to educating adults about the digital world. They also discuss why it's important to pay attention to these things as parents. If you're a parent or if you have young people in your life, you're going to find this one so practical and helpful. Now to our conversation.
Matt and Jill, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's really exciting to have you on. And this is one that I was driving in today thinking about it. And I was like, I'm really excited for this podcast. One, because of the content that we're going to be diving into. And I think that it's applicable really for this day and age, right? That talking about social media, talking about just encouraging parents, as you can't avoid it as a parent right now, right? And talking about supporting your kids in social media, as us as adults, what we're consuming in social media. But also, I am a parent of a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I am like terrified of what's going to happen when they get older. So I'm going to be learning a lot today. So this is a lot for me too. And I'm going to be excited to jump in and hear all that you have to share. And you guys are just right about to launch into an exciting avenue, an exciting new adventure, and just a new platform that you have that I am just thrilled for you. And I know you've put so much time and work into it, and I don't want to give it away. So I'm going to let you share about it. But I would love for you to start out just by introducing yourselves, a little bit about who you are, what you love to do, a little bit about your business. So why don't you take it away?
Okay. Why don't you go first with who you are and your hobbies? What are your interests?
Who are you?
How do I capture this in like a real short way? My name is Matt. I have a big background in media and communications. And so Jill and I actually started a filmmaking business, just a small business 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that for the last 10 years, but also have got lots of experience in church world, district office. So very tied into like knowing with the Assemblies of God and different churches. And so that's a little bit of background and profession or whatever, but like it's extensive, like just, and that's part of the reason like why we're moving into what we're moving into is just having an understanding of media and communications and social media and technology. And all of that has always been something that I've enjoyed. And so it's just kind of cool, like where it's going. I kind of jumped the gun there, but what I like to do, I don't know, like I really like telling stories. I think that's why I got into video and like just a big part of like, I don't know, like just enjoy that aspect of being able to like share what's going on in someone's world and the needs. Like that's a huge part of what we do is like, we're really excited and passionate about missions and different things. And so I don't know, I get excited about a lot of things tech wise, but I also like to sketch. Like there are things that I do that aren't on screens. But I don't know.
For someone so techie, I feel like he has a lot of creativity, which is good. Yeah. I'm more creative and have very little techie. I know how to use it, but I don't know what to call it. So that's my problem with it. For me, I actually was a nurse before this. And then once we had our kids, I wanted to be home with them more. And it's funny because my background though, and like passion was always writing and storytelling and photography. Like those were the things I was really passionate about. And nursing I loved because like you're taking care of people and because it's story. It's all about people and who they are. And unfortunately, you don't have a lot of time for that anymore as a nurse. They're like, get them in and out and, don't waste too much time or whatever. And for me, the whole kind of purpose of being a nurse was for the people. And so that was really frustrating for me before I quit. I kept my license. I still have it. I don't know if I'll ever go back, but we always joke that at least we have a fallback. At least there's this sort of safety net. Yeah. But yeah, as far as like interests and hobbies, it would still be writing. I still love photography. I do a tiny bit of drawing, but I've been really into learning wood burning, pyrography.
What in the world is that? I've never heard of that.
It's they have like the kind of, it looks like a very thick pen. It depends on the one you get, but you burn designs into wood or canvas bags or eggshells. Like you can burn pretty much a ton of objects, but it started when we were traveling. That's another hobby. We love traveling.
Traveling stage.
But that's a real expensive one.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. That is true.
So we don't do it nearly as much as we'd love.
Starting things, yeah.
But we did bring our boys to Europe. We had a really good miles deal, brought them to Europe, found this wooden sword in Finland, and our son was like, oh, this is... Do I say his name? Sorry.
Yeah.
If we get this out. So our son Quinn found this wooden sword, and it was just plain. It had no designs, and he really wanted like a Scandinavian design in it. And I was like, oh, I think I can do something with it, you know. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I kind of went through the route of like permanent marker, or we can chisel it or something. And then I was like, well, what if I burned it? And so then that sort of led me on the path of like wood burning. So that's where that random hobby came from.
That is so cool. I've never heard of it. It's like really good for low-key pyros to like get there.
Seriously. You get your little fix, I guess.
You get your fix. Just burns a little
but
bit
it's
of something.
safer and it's a little more productive. It's creation instead of destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what ages are your kids then?
14 and 11.
Okay.
Quinn's turning 12 soon.
Yeah, they're 2 years apart.
So that preteen stage.
Yes. Yeah. Once one of our kids ages up, I just automatically bump the next one with him.
That's what I almost did. I always said 14 and 12. And I'm like, well, technically, no.
Technically, he's still 11 until April, but But in our minds, we're just like, now they're at this age, both of them. Yeah. But yeah, so they're at that age where, we're also dealing with social media and the wide world out there that wants a piece of them. And
I mean, this is exactly the stage and age for it, 100% for what you're dealing with in that social media. That's usually when they start at that age. And so you guys have decided to start No Curtains. And I would love for you to share a little bit about what that is and what your heart is for why you decided to start it.
Yeah, well, I think you can get more into what it is, but really the origins of like why we began it, it's something that had been on Matt's mind for a while, just with communication during COVID. You'll probably talk more about that, but also as a parent looking for resources and having a hard time finding them, it's one of those situations where you create the thing you need. And so really that's why we began it. And we just had the opportunity business-wise to focus on it a lot now. So yeah, we took our chance, our opportunity to build it. And
I'd say the heart of it kind of started years ago, like again, working in media and communications, like I managed social media accounts. Like, you know, I think you've done that too, you know, you probably still do it. It's like where you have an inside look into how things work. And I think coming through COVID, like I had so many thoughts afterwards where I was like, I actually quit social media personally. Like I was managing accounts for, you know, some businesses, for some nonprofits, for church. But I personally couldn't take it. I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I had so many thoughts swelling, you know, in my mind, like for over a number of years, and just kind of like chicken scratch on paper, like just writing different things and thoughts and ideas down. And it was just like this perfect timing last fall where we had kind of a break in our schedule.
And in a way, when you own a business and you have a break in your schedule, you're like,
it's not a good thing.
Oh no. And so we were kind of faced with the option of like, do we like fervently pursue business for our business, or do we take this as an opportunity, like a God-given opportunity to invest in something that's been on our hearts for a while?
And so we kind of just took that leap, and the timing, I think, was just like so perfect, again, because of our boys' ages and what we were already experiencing now as a family. And like Jill said, trying to find those resources, like they are out there. There are things that you can get, but the idea was you have to pull from, you know, way over here, find it on this site, or buy this book. And it's kind of everywhere.
Who has time for that when you're parenting? Because you know how busy it is. It's like you hardly have time to do laundry, let alone read a 15 or 20 minute article with all these tech phrases that then you have to look up and figure out what they're talking about. And for me, it's a big no. Like, it's so boring.
So we jumped in, we called it No Curtains, and it's kind of a play on the Wizard of Oz. And so the idea is like, because initially back in COVID, when I was seeing behind the scenes of how social media companies like build their products, and they're built to be manipulative and addictive, and it's intentionally built into that. That was kind of the thought process of like looking behind the curtains. Like there's one thing that we see, but there's more things that are happening behind the curtains.
So it's like knowing and understanding the machines and people who run this.
Yeah, knowing the curtains, seeing and being able to see past them. And so like that was part of the like why we call it No Curtains, and the idea too that like it's kind of a play on words too, where we're like, we don't want curtains either. Like we want to know them and like see past them. And so one of the things that we really wanted to do was first develop an online course. And as we're discussing this, we're like, can you actually create an online course on technology that changes every hour? Right. So like, it's not like we can just create a parenting curriculum that, you know, has long shelf life.
Like, here you go, use this forever.
Correct. No, like we knew it was going to be outdated. And so one of the things that we talked about was like, okay, let's create this course, which is great because as filmmakers, we can create it internally. We've got the knowledge and know-how, but also like we're like realizing like this will probably only have a 12 to 18 month shelf life. And like, we need to continually update it. And
the basics of it will last forever. But the tech news or things that Matt mentions, like one time we filmed that day, and as he was editing it, something had already changed. And so we had to go back and like refilm part of it because we're like, oh, well, that's
oh my goodness,
not current anymore. So
we wanted to create the online course, but then we realized quickly too, like we need to create other resources, curate news, like, because a lot of tech news is hype. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, check out the latest gadget. You know, Meta's got new glasses. Like everyone's going to be wearing them. And like, that's trying to filter through that and being like, okay, but for real everyday people, you know, like how does this affect us? And that's kind of the scope of what we're trying to do is like, can we pull from all of that? And like Joe was saying, put it into something that's easily,
it's like bite size.
Yeah, bite size, easily consumed. You know, and so that's so we're like, we want to release an online course, but we also need to accompany it with ongoing updates. And so that's originally how we've hosted. It's more of a publication that has online resources.
Yeah, and it's short enough where you can just. I don't know if every parent does this, but you need a break and you go to the bathroom and you don't even really have to go. But like we have videos short enough where you can just watch it in the bathroom while you're pretending to poop.
So it's kind of like a two-tier approach where it's like courses and sources where we're actually producing online courses that families can go through together. But also at the same time, providing these resources and sourcing material from what's happening in politics and what's the latest with TikTok and safety features and all that, and trying to stay on top of that as well.
Yeah. So then what is like, if you were going to say, this is the underlying basis of what we're trying to help parents with, what would you say that is?
Okay, so our first course is driver's training for social media. Okay, so they're like ground zero, right? And we always say right now, if you're looking at what's happening on the online world, you've got a lot of very powerful companies. And we say, we like to put it this way, that social media platforms are trying to partner with parents for control over teens. We are trying to partner parents with teens for control over social media and kind of flipping the script, you know? So we're the more you get into it, the more you realize like we're all part of this. Like we're all facing the same issues. It's not just for our teens and tweens. If we're really honest, like as adults, we're going through it as well.
Yeah.
I like to say, like, I know it's easy for us to, like, I grew up, like, I'm older than Google, you know, like, and like we're early adopters into Facebook. And I feel like sometimes, like, especially for like us adults, like we're like the frogs in the kettle. Like it's a cool gadget at first that we all jumped on board, but here 20 years later, we're not realizing that this is the biggest communication shift in humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the size, scope, and speed, like it happened all in 20 years, and here's where we're at.
Yeah.
And like when you take a step back and you realize, like, oh my word, this is like one company has access to 3 billion people.
Right.
Like, it's kind of crazy. So like the timing of like why this is so important right now, like that's the heart of it. It's not just for teens and tweens and teens, but also for adults.
And we kind of talked about, like, you're saying you have younger kids, and you were sharing that story about your mom and her phone.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah,
That your mom lost her phone at the airport.
Yes, just yesterday she lost her phone at the airport, so I had to go get it for her. Now I'm shipping it across the country.
But I feel like, and I like the use of behind the wheel, because like when we were growing up, we would watch our parents drive. We understood how the car worked. We'd hear them complain enough to know how drivers are supposed to drive and not supposed to drive. And our parents were our guidance. And now, like you with young kids, you would look to your mom like, what did you do for nap times? What did you do? She's your guide still. But when it comes to social media, we can't do that. Your mom didn't have to deal with that with you.
She's asking me what to do.
Yes, and that's the
You're
thing.
parenting
It's like
both ways.
yeah. And no matter how young your parent might be, social media is still new to them. So we kind of address that too, of like, how do you navigate this world that you and your parents and your children are all learning at the same time?
Yeah. And that's, again, the approach with our first course is called Driver's Training for Social Media. And you think about that idea that Jill was talking about too. Like, no one hands the keys of a car.
Yeah, you're 16
as soon as
now.
they turn 16, you don't just
You know
hand it,
nothing
go for
about it. Don't know how to drive it. Here you go. But we do that with social media.
Correct.
We're like, oh, well, you're 16. Here's Instagram.
Yeah. Or 13 or whatever the
Yeah.
age is, you know, and that's thinking through that process of driver's training. It's like, well, no, there's a process. You're seeing, you know, adults in your life that you're riding with and like seeing how it's supposed to be done. And then when you're actually ready for it, you're actually going through a classroom type setting, because you have instruction and training. You have to know about the vehicle itself. And that's all before getting to just a probationary period where you're driving with your parents. And then even when you get your license, there's still rules in place about who you can drive with and when you can drive. So like,
and police to enforce it and all these things where, we just feel like with the internet, it's like a lot of people are like, well, okay, my kid won't get it till they're 18. They won't get social media. It's still the same problem.
Yeah.
If you don't train and prepare them beforehand.
Correct. And especially for parents of, you know, younger kids, like it's the same idea, because right now we're handing devices to them. We've done it, you know, at early ages. And so like beginning to think through, okay, so what does this look like when we play this out for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
And ultimately here's what it comes down to. Like, digital communication is not going away.
No.
Right. So, you know, everyone's talking about like Australia just banned social media for anyone under 16.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it goes into effect at the end of this year, I believe. But Florida has tried to do something like that. So there's a lot of talk about keeping teens off of social media. But I'm like, well, what are we doing to prepare them for when they're
on it? Yeah.
Or when they're
remove the problem.
correct. So how do we prepare them for a lifetime of digital communication? That's really the heart of what we're doing.
Because whether you like it or not, and a lot of times I'm not a good communicator that way necessarily, which is weird because I am a writer, but I hate texting. It just feels, usually I forget to like, I lose my phone all the time, or I think I responded and I didn't. And then it's like 3 weeks later and you go to ask something and you're like, oh shoot, there's that text still sitting in there unsent.
Yeah.
But yeah, whether you like it or not, this is the way we communicate now. And it does have benefits. We don't want to like completely vilify it either, because it does bring people closer together. Like I can message my mom who doesn't live in the same state as me, and send a picture of something, or she sends a picture, or it's like, you know, she's in Florida and they just got all the cold weather and stuff, and seeing all that, like it connects people, but also the problem is it connects people. So like, you know, it gives the world access to things they never had access to before.
That's
and
Jonathan Haidt says that.
Yeah. How do you regulate that?
Yeah.
Especially with your kids, because it's like you're opening the door, your front door up to strangers and being like, just come on in.
Yeah.
But who's going to do that?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. So it's like you have to be just as vigilant and careful, but also knowing your kids are going to meet people in life. But how do you prepare them?
Hey there. I want to interrupt for just a minute to tell you about the Single Moms Retreat coming up June 6th and 7th at Lake Geneva Christian Center. Are you a single mom or do you know one? This retreat is unlike any other, designed with their unique needs in mind. Bridging the Gap loves to encourage and support single moms over this Friday-Saturday event with car care, spa treatment, a diva boutique, incredible speakers, powerful worship, and so much more. Come to attend or as a volunteer. This year, we are honored to have Steph McDonald come lead us in worship, and we are thrilled to hear from Micah McDonald and McKelty Bloom as our main session speakers. Check out our website, mnbtg.org/retreat, for more information and to register, and we will see you there.
This is a lot of the conversation of the what, right? Like what we're preparing parents for, and looking deeper at the why, you know, like why is it so important? And even deeper than the why of why is it so important for us as Christian parents and Christian parents who are working hard to not only point our kids to knowing the truth, but like knowing the truth about Jesus, right? And keeping your eyes on Jesus and ensuring that they're not seeing terrible content, but having content that's pointing them to Jesus, and keeping their mind set on that. And because we as parents, we're called to steward our kids well. Like that is something that we were called to do. So we have a deeper ask of us to do that. So I would love just to hear you guys talk about that a little bit, of just like, why is it more important for us as Christian parents to really be monitoring our kids and holding them accountable in that way?
Yeah.
You alluded to this. Just let me say, Jonathan Haidt, you know, wrote The Anxious Generation, and a lot of his focus is on like phones and getting phones out of kids' hands. But one of the things that he said that Jill was alluding to is saying, like, when you give a kid a phone or a teenager a phone, you're not giving them access to the world, you're giving the world access to them.
Yeah.
And so when you flip that script of like that mentality of like, oh wait, this is like inviting people into my home.
Yeah.
This is not like letting my kids like see something on the internet. This is like you're actually inviting thoughts and ideas into your home. When you have that mentality, I think it begins to shift and change the way you see things, and the way that the internet works.
Yeah. And I was going to say, actually, just on the way to school today, when we were dropping the boys off, we were talking about putting on the full armor of God. And one of the things was the belt of truth. And we were joking because we're like, what do you think that means? And our oldest was like, well, you don't want to get caught with your pants down. Like, and we're like, yeah.
But one way to look at
it. But we got a pretty good laugh out of that. But just talking about like, with all the things that are presented out there, truth becomes very unstable. In social media, truth becomes what you present, the face you present, or your truth, or, you know, there's all these things where it's like, putting on that belt of truth is so important, because everything out there wants to tell you it's true and it's not. And so to have that foundation as Christians, I think, is so important. And it's a lot easier if you're adrift and you don't have rules or guidance. On the internet, you can find anything that seems true. And there are a lot of people wanting to tell you what they think is true. Yeah. And, you know, whether they say it or not, they're trying to win souls just as much as Christ, wants ours, but his is out of love and theirs is out of greed. So,
and the timing is more important now than ever for everybody. And this is, I would say, it's parents especially, just because it's critical, that early formation years, but also for adults, because we are really highly susceptible to deceit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think in faith communities, one of the things that we always talk about, people ask the question, what's one of our best defenses as believers, And
they're like, what's a good tech thing we can set up? And we're like,
first use your brain.
Yeah, it's your brain.
I think it's hard. Be a skeptic.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard in faith communities because it's almost frowned upon.
Yeah.
Because it's
the doubting Thomas.
Yeah, like the doubting.
I like Thomas. I'd be like, dude, what is happening?
Yeah.
But when you think about that, we're kind of trained to
because the world is trust your heart.
Yeah.
And the scripture's like, no, your heart is deceitful.
Yeah.
Know your word. That's more.
Yeah.
That's more where the Bible comes from. Is that's your foundation.
Right. So, and the timing is just huge as there's another shift that's coming. So we're talking a lot about social media right now in the here and now, but you're probably seeing a lot of news about AI.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
It's terrifying.
It's like what AI can do spans from cool or kind of weird. That chicken has
thanks for helping
a human
me
head.
change my email to be nicer.
Yes. Yeah. It can span from that to oh, you took out the weird thing in the background of a photo that I took. Great. All the way over to oh, it's sending stuff saying it's me saying awful things.
Right.
It's so scary. This I'm gesturing a lot with my hands and no one can see that, but
the timing is that is all happening right now in this window in the next 3 to 4 years when it's going to be fully developed and then kind of we're seeing it released now into the world.
Yeah.
And who knows where that will go, but it comes back to the fundamental question of what is truth.
Yeah.
And so AI seems very this all knowing and all powerful.
Right.
And it's really not.
It's not.
Right now, what it is it's learning. They call it LLMs, as language learning models. Basically, they're pulling from all the existing data, and then it's able to recognize patterns. And so that when you input something, ask it a question, it's okay, I see that this is over here, and this is what I'm going to spit out. Mm-hmm. The problem is that it's the old adage is garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So a lot of times AI depends on the data that's being trained on. So a lot of stuff.
Humans could train it on anything they want to.
Correct. So then when you think of okay, what's out on the internet, a majority of it is not faith-based.
Right.
Yep.
And is it sound? Is it truth? No. So AI in itself is probably pulling from a lot of stuff that isn't biblically sound.
Yes.
And then
or sometimes even factually sound.
Correct. And so then it can't spell. I just tried yesterday. It cannot spell surrender correctly.
Oh my goodness.
But that idea of
Great.
That's the next level of people are, interacting with AI chatbots. And it's this idea of hey, this thing knows all things. And it's trying to become more human. Mm-hmm. And the chatbots are not only becoming for information and knowledge, but then they're becoming therapy bots. And then they're becoming looking for direction and relationship advice to then the next level, which we're beginning to see is where people are actually making relational connections, emotional connections to the actual chatbot.
Yeah. And the chatbot isn't doing anything to stop that. It's encouraging it because it doesn't have the human instinct of being oh, this isn't good. This has gone too far. It just keeps going because it's programmed to just go with it. Yeah. And it is like you were saying too, Matt, how we are easily deceived. And so people will go into it knowing it's AI. They know it is. Mm-hmm. And somewhere along the line, they lose track of that. And mentally and emotionally. And we've read, I don't like to read a lot of those stories. I actually can't. But kids who lose their lives over it. And it's AI, it's a chatbot. It's not real.
Yeah.
And all that to say, not to scare people, but to realize that
Sorry.
But this window right now for all of us is so important for us to dig in and understand, first of all, what is truth? Mm-hmm. And we know that comes from God's word, you know, and so if we don't have that belt on, if we don't have that base of what is true and what is real, coming from a faith-based perspective, it's going to be very problematic, especially when we start looking to everything online, even Google searches, when, it's initially you're seeking truth, you're seeking facts. And so now moving into the next level of AI and then being able to share that across social media, it's it's more important now than ever to have these conversations.
And I think that's why just wrapping everything that you guys just said, it's so important that as a parent, you sit and think, what is most important to me for my kids?
Right.
What do I feel that God is saying that I need to protect my kids? Because you might feel this, I don't want them to feel left out. I don't want them to not be like their friends.
Yes.
But guess what? We are not of this world.
Right.
Yeah.
I tell my kids all the time, you don't do that because we're different than other families.
Yeah.
And you're 4 and you're already hearing that. Just wait till you're 12. Sorry, bud.
Right.
Like, we're different than other families. We believe things differently than other families. And it's because me and my husband have made the decision is we are going to protect you as much as we can. We can't protect kids from everything.
Right.
That's just the way the world is.
Right.
But we understand that social media and what they're going to be pounded on, because literally the things people send, the things you see, it's like, this isn't reality. And we want to make sure that you're being shown what reality is, and you're being told what reality is. And we as parents are going to see in every capacity what you're seeing. And we're going to have that control, because that is what we as stewards of your life given by God are called to do.
Yeah.
At that time as your parents. And so I think that parents, to challenge you a little bit, you have to have a little bit more control.
Yes.
And I think we have sometimes, and going into, I have a question on screen time, but we kind of just take our hands off of it. Like, just go to your screen. Like, just do that, because it just seems easy. And we trust social media a little bit too much. And it's relational. Like you said, it's relational. You're just looking at your friends, but there's so much more that we do need to have a little bit more control on. Because if you're letting kids sit on for 3 or 4 hours, what are they doing for those 3 or 4 hours? What relationships are they building?
Right.
What are they doing? So I think that it's just a good time to check, like, hey, what resources can I utilize, like this course, to really understand what my kids are doing?
Yeah.
And not to shame, not to convict, or, any of those ways, but it's a good challenge this is a good time to reassess.
Yeah.
This is a good time to learn, to really sit and figure out, like, okay, what is the best way to support my kids?
Right.
And we see that with screen time, don't we? Like how much that has impacted. And I think there's a lot of shame around screen time, which there shouldn't be. Like, I'm in Applebee's and my kid's on a screen for sure, because I would like to have an adult conversation for 20 minutes. So, but I just think, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I would love to hear just a little bit more too about the process of it and as the program of it. But what are some other maybe concepts or takeaways that you have an outline of, like, what a course might look like that you'd be willing to share for some families?
I think so. For this particular course, you touched on this actually. We're trying to expose these curtains, or we'll call them illusions. Maybe it's better understood as that. And the 3 things that we're looking at are the illusion of reality, the illusion of free, and the illusion of control. And so the 3 things that these companies actually implement to try to get us to stay trapped on our devices. And reality is huge. That's one of the things that we talked about is one of the important things in that lesson is realizing that, like, digital communication is always a step removed from how it's intended. Life is intended to be. In-person communication, where you can see, like, Jill waving her hands when she's speaking.
Oh, okay, I'll wave I do. I really talk with my hands a lot.
But like when you're face to face, like you can read emotions. There's so much that we get out. So much better. And realizing that anything that's digital is going to be a step removed, and just being able to navigate that and understand that. We talk about that, and then a huge thing that we talk about too is the idea that social media. When we think social media, like our thoughts immediately go to
TikTok,
Instagram, Facebook, and you're like, oh well, my 4-year-old isn't on that. But we expand the definition of social media and get people to understand that what it is basically any platform, website, game.
Gaming. People forget about the gaming.
Yeah.
Anything that has a user interaction, that is social media.
Even mobile gaming. And this is so dumb. I'm like admitting here. I play a game called Heyday, and it's just about like farming. I get made fun of. The boys are like, that's not like a real game. But Matt was like, well, that's social media. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's just a farming game. But there are people in my neighborhood that you talk to. And I was like,
that you're chatting with.
Yeah. And I was like, I guess I never thought about that. They're all retired, if that tells you anything about the game. Everyone on the game is retired. So
But that's a huge part of it is like, if we can, as parents especially, but everyone step back and realize that like, oh, wow. Okay. So that's a news site that I love to look at and read the comments and interact. That is social media.
It is.
Your Venmo transactions, like those are public. That's
if you don't know
social media.
Yeah, your Venmo transactions are public. You have to switch
we won't dive deep into this, but as our kids got into gaming and Minecraft, and there's certain forums where they can get Minecraft skins, and you check out the forum, I'm like, oh my word, it has chat messages. They can post anything.
And there's no age limit. So
it's basically
a
Facebook
60-year-old
for kids.
guy could be chatting with our 8-year-old son.
Yeah.
Like,
And and something like that, it's Planet Minecraft has really good reviews, and for the most part, it is safe because they have moderators. But yet, that's social media.
Yeah, and things can slip in.
We might think our 10-year-old isn't on TikTok, but they're interacting with who knows on Planet Minecraft. So again, being able to think of social media beyond the big 8 that we know, and think, okay, it is any platform, game, website that basically has user interaction. And so that alone is just like to us as gold, and going through the course, giving that perspective helps broaden the reach for all families.
And we do address screen time and how sometimes it can be good. Like we watch stuff with our boys, and it's a bonding time for us. Like we'll watch funny videos and laugh about it and talk about it the next day. Like it stays with you. But then also assessing, and I think that's the hard part for parents is, I think sometimes we're afraid. We're afraid to be honest about our own time. And we're afraid to talk to kids about theirs. Especially as they get older, you don't want to be like, not cool. But we started when ours were like your kids' age, where they're much younger, and they would watch us texting our friends, and we would always let them see what we were doing on our phone, and we would tell them it's going to be the same for you. When you guys have this, we get to see every message. We get to see what you're doing. And sometimes it's hard because you want to sort of back off that because you feel really uncool doing it. But we're like, no, we're open about everything. But I think that is the hard part for parents, is kind of facing our own, like, what am I doing on my phone? You know, like,
that's a good point.
It is tough, but it's like, and with screen time too, it's like the hardest part, I think, as a parent is you lose so much of your time. But for us, we willingly give even beyond that because it's important right now. It's not going to be forever that you don't have this time. It's just this small window that's always closing. And so I think that as a reminder is kind of encouraging, because it's like, it might be more work to engage your kids in other ways other than screens, but it's work that's going to pay off.
And it is work.
It is work.
And that's the hard part. Is like,
it's
you
fun,
mentioned
but
this
it's
too.
a
It's
lot
way
of
easier
work.
to just hand a screen off at times and just let them play games. But like, again, like you said, the window's so small. Like we need to really be vigilant. And we tried a lot of things. What we say in the ongoing course, whatever we produce, we're not trying to be prescriptive. Every parent is different. Every family has
kid is different, different personalities and temperaments.
So it's more of a guide. It's basically to help you create your own plan. And I'd say the one thing that you touched on, the last thing that I'll just bring up, one of the things that we've created is kind of this, it's like a free PDF that we can make available, but we've been sending it out to churches because content screening is a huge part of like, okay, you mentioned this, like, how do I protect my kids from seeing certain things? And again, this is not like parental advice, but one of the things that we've done is we like to say a lot of times screening instead of shielding. Certainly there are things that you need to shield your kids from, but we also have to understand that in this age, digital age, like it is impossible to shield. So it's in a way like you might shield them while they're under your roof, maybe. Unlikely. The percentages say it's not going to happen. But let's say by some stroke of...
They never see anything or hear anything.
You never turn your TV on. You never have music on.
Some kid from school or daycare never says anything.
Leave your house. You never walk through Target or,
Right.
Exactly. How will that play out at 18? So we say, it's not always about shielding or protecting. Sometimes it is about screening. And the beauty of that, like we say a lot of times,
equipping. But
because that's the part of there's going to be screening where we listen to music lyrics and we walk through that with them.
Oh my word! But they ask me for songs every day. Mom, can you look up the song? And then I have to read through it. And when they're junk, I'm like, oh my word, you guys know, like either words are bad or the whole point of the song is bad, but I do it every day. Like I take time out of what I'm doing because it's important to know what's going in.
And we're still very selective. Hear me out. Like we're not like just watch anything. We're screening things. We're selective with what we watch, but there's a beauty in co-viewing or like doing something, going through something together as a family. Even topics that we disagree with, things that we don't view as truth, like being able to have those conversations is huge. And so that's to us, like it's not shielding, it's more screening, because then we can have the tough conversations and then line it up with what we believe God's word is. God's word says, what really is truth, because you're going to face the lies, you're going to face the deception. And if you're not having those conversations now, you would we would rather have those conversations as parents than for someone else to teach them that.
I always say that. I would rather tell you about it than you hear it from someone else.
And they don't always want to hear it from me. Like we began at age appropriate ages, you would present things at that level. And then as they age up, what you're telling them ages up with them. And sometimes they're like, oh, you guys, we just don't. And we're like, hey, you're going to hear it.
Yeah.
We'd rather be the experts in your life.
Correct.
Then you hear it on the back of the bus.
Kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, how can people access this course? What are ways that parents can, or if you are listening and you're a pastor to church and you think this would be helpful, or like I have school boards that like friends on the school board that like, oh, maybe this would be something, or teachers, how can people find and utilize this course?
So you can visit our website is knowcurtains.com, KNOW curtains.com. And that's the place that we host the course there, and you can access that. But there's a lot of free resources on that site as well. And I know some people, and there's a subscription model that gives you access to all the courses. And I know some people are like so tired of subscriptions. But if you go to
it's worth it.
But if you go to training.knowcurtains.com, you can just get the course if that's all that you want. So there's a couple different options.
But if you do subscribe, that's where we do all of the weekly updates and things that are happening in the tech world, and understanding why did Zuckerberg just make this announcement? Well, because he got in trouble last week. Making those connections.
Helping interpret the news a little bit for you, curating that for you, and being able to spit something out that's very bite-sized. But that's the best way to get some of the resources. And we do have some faith-based stuff, and so that if pastors want to reach out to us personally, they can. It's just matt@knowcurtains.com, and just reach out. And then I've got some freebies that we can send their way.
Yeah, I love that. And we'll make sure to link to everything too in the show notes and as we post things like that. But as we wrap up, just any final pieces of encouragement for parents that are listening, anyone listening, that this is overwhelming stuff. It's overwhelming because it's so big, it's so intimidating, and you might feel like, I feel like I'm failing at this, or I feel like it's just overwhelming and I just don't know. But any final pieces of encouragement?
I've got one, and then you can jump in.
Okay.
But, no one's perfect.
No
parent is perfect. We're not coming at this as the perfect parents who figured everything out.
We're also there figuring it out.
It's and that's the point, is that it's an ongoing work. And I think, like you mentioned this, don't feel shame.
Right?
Because realize that we're all imperfect, and the deck is stacked against us. Let's be real. And so it's okay, but don't give up.
Yeah. I love that encouragement, because I think we are really hard on ourselves as parents. And to just be kinder, be kinder to yourself. And the other thing is, with any change, I think if you implement small things over time, it's easier than being like, that's it, we're throwing out our devices. And, you're going to meet up against opposition from your children. But really what we want is for you to be allies. You guys are working together. You're on the same team.
I love it.
And to approach it that way, I think just don't freak out. Don't throw out the TV. But maybe unplug one thing for a little bit, or sorry to offer advice again at the end. But we talk about, in our course, we have this, a guide. What's it called? The course guide?
Course companion.
A little buddy to go with you. But it talks about not just dropping all screen time, but focusing on like what's good screen time for you, but then what are things you want to do outside of that, like with your kids, or what are interests of your kids
Offline
and
activities.
hobbies and So just to encourage you to like look, instead of looking at rejecting everything, look at things you want to do outside of screen.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being
you.
on here and sharing your wisdom in this and the time you put into something like this. Like, it's not something that you just pop up overnight. So it's, I'm sure, a lot of work. So I wish you the best. And as you launch this, and I'm excited to see just all of the fruit that comes from it and the people that you help. Because again, it's overwhelming out there in this crazy world. So thank you very much again for being on the show.
Thank you. Yeah, this is fun.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Bridging the Gap podcast. We were honored to hear from Matt and Jill Reed on social media now. Be sure to check out their Substack at nocurtains.com, where you can find periodic posts, anecdotes, and explainers, as well as online courses. There you'll also find their first online course, Driver's Training for Social Media. You can also access content through their subscription-free site at training.nocurtains.com. You can learn more about Bridging the Gap at mnbtg.org or by following MNBTG on social media. And we invite you to take a moment to rate and review this podcast to help others find this resource as well. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to being with you next time on the Bridging the Gap podcast.